Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Complete Sports Media's podcast. I'm your host, Darren Campbell, and of course, joining me here on Monday, Jason Cameron, coming to you on a Remembrance Day north of the border, Veterans Day south of the border. Great day to reflect on the sacrifices that people have done to give us our freedoms, and nice that we still recognize it hundreds of years after the great wars and everything going on. But yeah, good to get a long weekend here.
It's always good to have a long weekend, and also too, it's good to remember to pay our respects to those that fought for the rights that we now all of us have, and we should never take those rights that we have for granted, because it could be very different if things had worked out differently during those wars, First World War, Second World War. Things could be very, very different.
Yeah, sure could be. Yeah. I think a lot of people kind of lose the meaning behind today, but I had both my grandfathers in the Air Force. My mother's father actually, fought over in Germany, over in Europe, and he recognized it as a very important day. He lost a lot of friends and people from his community, and he would go to the Remembrance Day ceremonies, put on his uniform, and proudly stand there. Most times it was rainy, it was windy, it was pretty crappy out, but he would go there and stand there for hours and just honor the commitment that he gave, as well as all his friends and the people of Canada that jumped in to save the world from an evil dictator.
From tyranny.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it really was. And obviously you've seen them, as I've seen them, all the war movies, all the things that have been visualized on film to show the sacrifices that were made by just normal men, trying to fight for the person beside you, trying to fight for the betterment of society, for the betterment of equality throughout like every race, creed, religion, all of that sort of stuff. It's all important. It's all things that were fought for.
Yeah. I'm so sick of the news right now because Trump is just dominating the news. Talk about a evil dictator. Somehow they voted him in again. I think, you said, "Oh, I'm not surprised," and other people told me they're not surprised, but I sure am. I can't believe that many people could be snowed to think that he's the best option out there. And yeah, it's just been horrible. I'm glad I have sports to take my mind off of all that crap and focus on something better.
Okay, I told you before, and I'll tell you again. When that first assassination attempt failed, and he had his fist raised in victory, and he had those two small secret service people around him at least they protected his middle, nothing above here, but just they protected this. And then the American flag perfectly framed behind him. That's when I knew, I'm sorry, man, but this guy's going to win. It didn't matter, as far as I'm concerned, it didn't matter what Kamala Harris did.
Yeah.
It didn't matter, because all that mattered was that one shot where the photographer slid into place as he's ducking bullets so he could take that iconic shot.
Yeah.
Because you know where that shot's going to be, that picture? It's going to be right
the desk.
No, right on his desk. First thing you see when you go and enter the White House.
Cool.
Picture, like a portrait, full frame portrait. That's the first thing you're going to see.
Yeah. Probably above him in Melania's bed, probably. He's going to have it in so many different places, in the bathroom, above his bed, behind his desk. As soon as you walk in, he'll be hanging there in the White House, in the government offices, everywhere. He's probably going to try to profit off of it, too. He's going to have it on shirts and mugs and, everything that you could possibly put a logo on.
Yeah, because you know why? Because that's his business sense. That's him being actually a good businessman, where he's just like, how can I profit off this? I know I can. Yeah. And then he'll figure it out, because that's what he does. But is he going to be a better president than the last time? This is what I can guarantee you. It's going to be entertaining.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, he's going to be on the news 24/7, just like last time.
Oh, man.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
Incredible.
Can't wait.
Can't wait. I can wait. I can wait. Oh my God. Anyway, yeah, so let's leave the news behind. Let's get into the world of sports. You and I typically every episode look back on the weekend of sports and do a nice breakdown of it. We do look ahead, in some regards, but in this one, I want to start off looking ahead to the biggest combat sports story of the year, probably the return of Mike Tyson this weekend, Friday, against Jake Paul. It is going to be probably the most viewed boxing fight of all time because it's on Netflix, and everyone seems to have Netflix in the world. It's pretty insane. Jake Paul's been able to entice Mike Tyson out of retirement. 58 years old when he enters into the ring against a 27-year-old Jake Paul. Leaked today that Mike Tyson is guaranteed $20 million for this fight. So I think $20 million will kind of lure almost anybody out of retirement. But this is a big sports story. This is probably the biggest boxing story in years. And it is pretty massive on the global scale that it is on Netflix and available to almost every person on the planet.
I'll give Jake Paul two things right off the bat. First off, Jake Paul has been a proponent to always paying fighters what they're worth, paying fighters the salary that they're worth. I'll give him an immense amount of credit to make sure that Mike Tyson was being taken care of, regardless of what happens in this fight. $20 million, I think that's a great deal to get Mike Tyson to do this.
Yeah.
So I commend him on that. The second thing is how he brought together this package deal to bring to Netflix, and Netflix got on board.
Yeah.
He sold the idea. Now, like going forward, this could change the whole realmscape of boxing.
Yeah.
If they find this as a viable option.
Yeah.
Like, this is just a test run. This is just to see how it's going to go with not a real boxing match, by the way.
Right.
This is
kind of an exhibition type of a thing. Yeah.
Exactly. Like this is pure entertainment and exhibition. But if it goes off correctly, the way that Jake Paul sees it going off, this could open up a whole new door and avenue for boxing, period.
Yeah.
So that's a great thing too. So the two definitely big things.
Two big things. Yeah, you're very right. Jake Paul, he's loved, he's hated. He's probably the most polarizing figure in internet history, really. And it's amazing that he's been able to utilize that fame that him and his brother got, just being goofballs, throwing up videos day after day during their youth, and then decided to get into the boxing realm and really just changed the world of boxing because of his very, very astute promotions, having all his followers really get that power behind him so that he can, get the kind of money and, fame and fortune that a lot of these guys are still seeking. It's amazing how he went about it by getting old, washed up athletes, and then he got, some other internet guys, and then he got old, washed up MMA guys, and now he's getting an old, kind of washed up boxing guy, but it's working somehow. It's actually, piquing the interest of a lot of people on the planet, and it's great that MVP Promotions has been able to do that. There are actually quite a few title fights on this card, which is pretty amazing. You say that fight is a exhibition match, basically. It's for some reason 2-minute rounds, 8 2-minute rounds. I don't know why. They're actually using 14-ounce gloves, which is a lot heavier than normal, so a lot more padding, I guess. I don't know why they wouldn't just try to, maybe they were worried that they wouldn't get sanctioning because of the age of Mike Tyson.
It could be that, or they say that the last thing to go on a boxer is their power.
Yeah.
So I wonder why the boxing mitts have a little bit more padding. I wonder why.
Right. Yeah. Well, you and I have seen lots of leaked videos of training sessions with Jake and Mike, and oh my God, the power that you're seeing in the shots that Tyson's throwing is just astronomically different than what you're seeing from Jake Paul.
Yeah. Like it's on a different, what I want, a dimension.
Yeah.
It's on a different dimension, especially like if you have a former coach of Mike's who was worried about Mike Tyson even taking this fight, coming in to see exactly how he was training, and then being blown away by what he saw.
Yeah.
Because he's like, he's in better shape than I've ever seen him in. Period.
Yeah.
Like if your former boxing coach who has known you since you were a child says that about you now,
Yeah.
I don't feel good about Jake Paul going forward in this fight.
No.
I'm sorry, man. Like he might have bitten off a little bit more than he can chew. Because as far as I'm concerned, it could be an 85-year-old Mike Tyson. I am never getting in the ring with that guy.
Yeah.
Never going to happen.
Yeah. I remember during his heyday, and a lot of guys were falling and getting knocked out and 30 seconds, a minute, really getting out there. And a lot of guys would say, I think I'd take some shots from him for 5 million, 2 million, 8 million, whatever it was during those fights. And I was always like, no, you would be in the hospital for a very long period of time if you took some shots from prime Mike Tyson. And I don't think he ever really knew how to train properly, to do the weight training, to do the nutrition. I don't think he ever got that. He was just a massive beast, just right from the start, and just would go in and blitz guys so fast that he never had to be the type of shape that we're talking about now. And now he's has to do that. So he has some stamina. He has some ability to get himself around the ring. But it's crazy that, he's in the best shape of his life, probably.
Yeah, because he has he's able to now do a fusion of old school training mixed with the new school methods.
Yeah.
And I think he gets to benefit from both of those now. And by the way, anybody that's ever said, I could take a punch from Mike Tyson for 5 million to 2 million, you're an idiot. Because here's the thing. First off, you have to survive said punch.
Yeah.
You can't collect money if you're dead.
No.
Yeah.
That's it. Good point. Very good point. You cannot collect money if you're dead. Let's put that quote somewhere behind us, and we'll talk about it for many days to come. As I mentioned, lots of title fights on the card. The co-main event has Katie Taylor against Amanda Serrano. That is a rematch, and it's for Taylor's IBF, WBA, WBC, and WBO women's super lightweight titles. First fight was a great one. Should be amazing to see the rematch. Then we've got Mario Barrios against Abel Ramos. Barrios WBC welterweight titles on the line. Neeraj Goyat, he's India's #1 fighter. He's fighting Whindersson Nunes, and that's for the super middleweight belt. Shadizia Green and Melinda Watpool, they're fighting for the vacant women's WBO super middleweight title. Also a super lightweight title on Lucas Bandy against Armando Casamonica. And finally, Bruce Carrington, Dana Coolwell for the featherweight belt. So all the fights on the card are for belts except for this main event. So something to tune in for. 2:30 prelims start at 2:30 Pacific, 5:30 Eastern. Main card 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 o'clock Eastern time. Tune in, watch it. I think you'll really love the boxing early and then the spectacle late.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely agree with that, because the spectacle is what everybody wants to see. So there it is. Tune in.
Yeah, I'm excited. Can't wait. Friday, here we come. It's going to be fun. I'm glad it's on Netflix. This is pretty amazing. Okay. Let's talk about the NHL briefly. Today is a huge day because it's the Hockey Hall of Fame induction ceremony this afternoon. It's getting underway in the next about hour or two here. We've got 3 top players, NHL guys. Pavel Datsyuk, Jeremy Roenick, and Shea Weber are all being inducted today. Datsyuk was called the Magic Man, one of the greatest players of all time. Came in and played 950 games, had 314 goals, 604 assists for 918 points, and he was plus minus of 249, winning 2 cups with Detroit. Jeremy Roenick played 1,363 games in the NHL, had 513 goals, 703 assists for 1,216 points, and he was plus 153 in his career. My favorite interviewer of all time in the NHL history. Love talking to JR, love going in, and he would just speak his mind. That's why he's a great broadcaster, but just my favorite guy out of every NHL player that I've ever talked to, JR was my favorite interview.
And let me guess why he was your favorite interview, because he wouldn't hold back.
No,
he wouldn't give you stock answers like every other NHLer. That sounds like every other NHLer.
Yeah.
That's not what Jeremy Roenick was. That's not who he is, and that's why he's so good at what he does now as an analyst.
Yeah, incredible. And then a BC boy, Shea Weber, born in Sicamous, BC. He was a defensive defenseman, was able to really be such a stalwart in his career, winning a couple cups with Chicago. Ended up having a really fantastic career. Played on Canada at elite level, Olympics and World Cup and things like that. Shea Weber, just an incredible addition to the NHL Hockey Hall of Fame. We've got two females, Natalie Derwitz and Chrissy Wendell Pohl. And then two builders are going in tonight as well. Colin Campbell, the assistant commissioner of the NHL, and David Poyle, longtime executive with Nashville. Incredible the things that David Poyle was able to bring to the NHL. And that's always a huge night. They have a really fantastic game on the weekend. Honor all the inductees. All their families go. They have the ceremony at the Great Hall at the Hockey Hall of Fame. Hockey Hall of Fame, probably my favorite place in Canada to actually go to. An incredible time. I usually spend about 3, 4, 5 hours in there taking in all the things. And if you're ever in Toronto, do go there. It is an absolutely incredible place to visit. I think, to me, it's the best place in Canada to walk into.
I think I've been there. I want to say that I think I've been there. Anyways, but it was pretty impressive. Yeah. It's actually, like every Hall of Fame is impressive, but especially the one here for hockey, for our national sport, our game. Yeah, very impressive.
It's very cool. Very cool. Okay, just a couple of NHL notes. We talked last week about Winnipeg being the top team. It's funny how the Winnipeg Jets are the #1 team in the NHL, and the New York Jets are one of the worst teams in the NFL. And New York should be glitz and glamour and have all the championships, and the Jets, the smallest market in the NHL, should be way down at the bottom. Jets continue to roll. They've won 6 in a row. They're 14-1 on the season. They've scored 67 goals, only allowed 31 so far for a difference of 36. 9-1 in their last 10. Connor Hellebuck playing incredible in goal. All this team is just so solid across the board. An absolutely amazing start, and I'm really happy for the people in Winnipeg. There has been some stories, though, that they're not selling out every game. They had a sellout at the opening night, and every other game hasn't been a sellout so far. Unfortunately, Winnipeg was hit really bad financially with COVID. It was probably the worst hit city in North America. And they don't have a lot of corporations there. They don't have a lot of money. That's always been a little bit of the trouble with Winnipeg. And the people just don't have the money to go, I guess. This is the #1 team, but they're not selling out, which is alarming to the city and to a lot of people that follow the game.
It is alarming because they're doing so well. But also, too, I guess it points to the greater economic instability of the people that work there and live there right now. They just can't afford it. So I don't know what that means for the team going forward. Hopefully the team stays and hopefully things improve in Winnipeg. But for right now, it's not great. not a great situation.
Yeah, it's one of the reasons why they lost their team in the first place. And, everybody was hoping that, when they came back from Atlanta, this team would be able to survive. But economic instability there is a little tough. So let's hope this great streak keeps going and they can get the building filled up. In the Western Conference, Minnesota Wild have come out very strong as well. They're the second team in the West with a 10-2-3 record. Canucks are sitting in 5th place in the Pacific Division, 7-3-3 start. They've actually played the least amount of games out of any team in the NHL. Dallas has also played 13 games. Most of the other teams have played 14, 15, 16 games. Canucks had a really tough game against Edmonton on the weekend. They lost 7-4, and it was a bit of a wake-up call. Their last 2 games at home haven't looked good, but this is a 6-game homestand. They play Calgary starting tomorrow, the game 2 of this homestand. I think we're going to see a team that's bounces back quite a bit against Calgary and moving forward. This team is looking good. Unfortunately, Brock Besser was concussed last game, not last game, but the game before, and has to miss some concussion. The guy that hit him, Tanner Jeannot, was suspended for 3 games starting this weekend. It was an ugly open ice hit where he led with his shoulder and a bit of his side of his head. Ended up hitting Besser after, like 2 seconds after he had got rid of the puck. It was an ugly hit. I'm glad he got suspended, and let's hope Besser's not out too long with this concussion issue.
Okay, remind me again, what's illegal? Was it because it was a blindside hit, or is it because he targeted the head with his shoulder?
Yeah, mostly because of the head direct hit to the head.
The hit to the head. Okay, because that's the thing that they're trying to get out of the game so that their stars are healthy, play the game. I think that's one of the major reasons why they made this this rule change, so that the stars are healthy and they stay on the ice so they can make money, which is most important thing.
Very much so, yeah. So with Besser out, the Canucks ended up calling up Jonathan Lecker-Mackey. He's going to make his debut tomorrow. He is the first round draft pick from the Canucks in 2022, 15th overall. Comes from Abbotsford, a guy that's been a Swedish guy that's been very, very anticipated to eventually step in to this team and being able to give them a lot of things that they need. And it would be great to see his debut tomorrow. Nice to see also Artur Silovs called up from Abbotsford. I think he will start tomorrow as well. Kevin Lankinen has been incredible in net for the Canucks this year in place of Thatcher Demko, but he had a bit of a tough go on Saturday. So I think Silovs is finally going to get a chance there, and he will be starting in the net on tomorrow night against Calgary.
Well, you know what? Silovs has proved himself. He's a very good goaltender, so I think the Canucks should be in good hands.
Yeah. Should be really good. Okay, let's turn to the NBA. There's a couple things I want to talk about. The Emirates NBA Cup starts tomorrow. It goes all the way from Tuesday, November 12th, all the way to December 3rd, every Tuesday and Friday. Then the knockout rounds happen December 10th and 11th, semifinal December 14th, and the final in Vegas December 17th. Cool that we're already here. It seems like the NBA season's just really only kicked in, and all of a sudden we've got NBA Cup to talk about. Should be pretty cool to see the first game of it tomorrow. Dallas Mavericks going into Golden State. Klay Thompson's return to the Warriors after a Hall of Fame season or Hall of Fame career that he had in Golden State. The outpouring of joy and support and love. The tribute video is going to be incredible. I can't wait for it. I'm going to record it and I'm going to keep it as a keepsake for the rest of my life. Klay Thompson, one of my favorite players of all time, and I'm glad he's going to get the outpouring of love that he deserves.
Yeah, I'm glad he's going to get that. It's too bad that he felt on his way out that he didn't have that outpouring of love before he left.
Right.
That's a shame. But the one thing I'd love to see in this game is that I just love to see a fantastic, close, hotly contested game.
Yeah.
That's what I really want to see. I want to see both guys be the best of their abilities. The fact that the Warriors are tops in the Western Conference with their unbelievable record that nobody saw coming.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to a very well played game between the two teams.
I'm blown away by how good the Warriors are and have been. They're playing just fantastically right now. They had a huge win over OKC yesterday, and it was very impressive, winning 127-116. Steph led the way with 36 points, but they also got 20 points from Kuminga. Melton had 19 points and 10 rebounds, and Wiggins had 18 points, 8 rebounds, and 5 assists, getting help throughout and being able to beat OKC, which is one of the other teams at the top of the West. It's great that the Warriors and the Suns and the Thunder are all tied top of the West, 8-2 record. The Warriors are actually in the best shape right now, though, because the Thunder had Chet Holmgren go down with an injury yesterday, and Kevin Durant for the Suns went down with an injury too, and he's going to be out for a couple weeks. So out of the three teams top of the West, Warriors in the best shape.
Yeah, Warriors are in the best shape because of the injuries that you just noted. And I think Holmgren might be out. I think they said anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks, possibly, with the injury he suffered.
Yeah, I saw 8 to 10 actually, and
okay,
so possibly more. It's a pelvic fracture. We'll be lost for a while. The funny thing is, you and I have talked about Chet Holmgren quite a bit, and I remember him coming out of college, and you said, "I'm going to be really interested to see how this type of body shape actually, can translate. Can he do it?" And I said, "I'm worried about injuries. I'm worried about him being that small. You just snap him in half." And this was an example of a guy that doesn't really have much meat on his bones, falling down in an awkward way and fracturing his pelvis, which is a very serious injury.
Very serious injury. It super sucks. It's going to take a long time for him to heal up from said injury. I think for like guys like of that unique body type, like Holmgren, Wembanyama, even though we've seen that with Wembanyama this season, eventually they're going to have to grow into themselves and put on muscle. Yeah. I think it goes without saying, even if you want to keep your athleticism, stay lean, and yada, 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 you're still going to have to put on muscle, put on strength, so you can take the constant banging that you're going to have to suffer throughout the course of an NBA season. Yeah. I think it absolutely has to happen.
Just has to happen, yeah. Isaiah Hartenstein's still out as well. The guy they acquired from the Knicks. I'm sure hope they can accelerate his progress so that he can get back ASAP and help this team from the center position. He was supposed to come in and really help this team. Unfortunately, been injured throughout. Unfortunately, a ton of injuries in the last few days. I mentioned KD and Chet, but John Morant also has a pelvis problem, a hip and a pelvis injury. He's week to week now. And Zion Williamson, he has suffered a hamstring injury and is out indefinitely. The crazy thing is, the Pelicans have been hit by the injury bug heavily. Trey Murphy has missed all 10 games so far this year. Javonte Murray has missed 9. CJ McCollum 6. Herb Jones 6. And Williamson 4 so far and out for a while. This is too bad because Zion came in the best shape of his life trying to avoid this type of stuff. And the injury bug hit him again. This guy has had so many injury woes, missed so much time in his NBA career.
Yeah, he has. He has. I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that he wasn't in shape. So I can't blame him on this one because he was absolutely in shape
Yeah.
before before going into going into the season. So
Right.
he was absolutely in shape for that. So the fact that he got injured, it sucks. It's unfortunate, but they'll have to take their time with the injury because it's a hamstring. It takes time.
Yeah. Also looking at the West, Denver Nuggets are sitting in fourth place in the West, and Nikola Jokic is friggin' on fire. This guy's already won 3 MVPs, and he is doing things that are just stunning. He set a mark yesterday that's never been achieved before in an NBA game. 37 points, 18 rebounds, and 15 assists, and that was his fourth straight triple-double. The guy got the Western Conference Player of the Week, leading Denver to 4-0 record with 29.5 points per game, 15.8 rebounds per game, and 14.5 assists, shooting 57% from the field, and just looking absolutely amazing. That victory yesterday over Dallas was an incredible game to watch, and you gotta say that Jokic willed that team to that victory over a really good Dallas team.
That's the problem, though. That's the problem you're gonna see going forward with that team. Yeah. Is that literally Nikola Jokic has to play like that for them to win, like every game? No, man, I'm sorry. It's as awesome as he is.
Not
that is not sustainable.
You can't keep that pace.
No, you can't. You can't keep that pace. And it's unfair. Like the fact that your best player has to play all world all the time so that you can win the games. Like the fact that they're 7-3 is absolutely amazing, considering the fact that they have no shooting on that team whatsoever.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah. Well, Porter sunk the game-winning shot. Hopefully, he can contribute a lot for them. The game that Kyrie brought yesterday: 43 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, and Luka also chipped in. Almost had a triple-double: 24 points, 9 rebounds, 9 assists. But fantastic game between those two teams, and you don't think that. Jokic is going to be able to keep it up at this pace. He is playing incredible though, and really, really fun to watch. Grizzlies sitting in 5th place, in trouble now that Jaw's out. Then there's 6 teams at 6-4. Lakers are in a bit of trouble. They got no depth. AD went down yesterday. I said it last week. Or the week before last, he's gonna fall to injury. Another eye injury that he had last year, he's out. And then the Clips, Wolves, Rockets, Kings are all 6-4 as well. And then the Pels, as I mentioned, down a little bit farther, 3-7 with injury woes and Zion falling off. All these teams are just going to be playing, I think, for the possibility of a late berth in the playoffs or a play-in spot.
Yeah, absolutely. They're going to be playing for that, because if there's one thing that's been shown so far this season, is that the Western Conference is way better.
Far superior.
Far superior conference than the Eastern Conference.
There's only 2 teams in the East that have winning records. Two freaking teams out of 15 that have winning records. So it's tough there. The Cavs, 11-0 start, looking fantastic. The next 4 games look winnable. They have a game tonight against Chicago. That sandwiches a game with the 76ers. They play Chicago the next game after the Sixers. Then they play Charlotte. Their first big test is Boston, and that's on the also a game of the Emirates Cup, NBA Cup. That goes Tuesday. So that's a battle on the top of the East there between the Celtics and the Cavs. That should be a fantastic game and a really good matchup for being actually, I think that's the opening game of the NBA Cup, and the Warriors Dallas game is the evening game.
Oh, okay. Well, that's actually very astute programming and planning of the games. Very smart.
Scheduling is amazing so far for the NBA. They're doing a really, really smart job, and Very, very great. The rest of the go ahead.
Before you continue.
Yeah.
So is part of the Emirates Cup actually going to be overseas? Being played overseas?
Not that I know of. Not that I know.
Okay. Okay, because I just thought for a second that some of the games would be played overseas, but that may have been something I heard from something else.
Oh,
so.
possibly. Not that I remember hearing of. They're playing every Tuesday and Friday.
Friday. Yeah.
From tomorrow till December the 3rd.
Okay.
So yeah, possibly. Yeah, if you're right, great. We'll talk about it later or through the week. The rest of the East is pretty weak. The Pacers are the only team that's 500, and then we've got a lot of teams that are 5-6, 4-5, 4-6, all the way down. We're looking at the bottom now, though. I want to talk about those Bucks. How the hell does Doc Rivers still have a job? I can't believe it. Insane. They blew another lead yesterday. They were up by 17, and that was their second blown lead of that much. And it's incredible. This guy has a job still. He has come in there and just blown this team up. Damian Lillard is probably the worst defensive player in the NBA right now. He is just horrible out there. I wish they could do something like they do in lacrosse, where the defensive players run on defense and they change shifts. When the guys are running down on offense, they change. In lacrosse does that. Hockey's being able to shift on the fly. You can't do that in the NBA, and guys like Lillard get exposed. He's lighting it up offensively, but defensively, oh my God, he is so easy. You just switch on him and you're going to score a bucket every time down the floor.
He's a defensive liability. He always has been, but even more so now, because that's what the offenses are doing. They're actively hunting him, making him switch on screens and stuff, so that he has to come out onto the ball handler and such. And it's bad. It's bad because, again, once they made that trade, or they let Drew Holiday go, they wanted offense over defense, but that doesn't seem to have been working out so well for him.
No, ugly and tough. And there's a lot of teams in the East that look ugly. Bucks are one of them. Raptors, bottom of the conference right now. We knew it was going to be a tough year, but it's sad that Canada's lone team is so awful, and we'll have a really, really tough year. I'm not sure who's supposed to be going number one overall, but Raptors have the inside track at that right now.
Oh, I think they have a very good inside track at that. I can't foresee the Raptors, getting any better this season. I think this is where they're going to be, which is in the cellar. It just depends on who can beat them to the bottom.
It's terrible. Yeah, it's brutal. Okay, moving on. Let's go to I want to make one mention. Canadian Denis Shapovalov, Richmond Hill, Ontario, won a tournament over in Serbia on the weekend, beating the Serbian in the final. Medjegovic. I don't know exactly how to pronounce the guy's name, but the Serbian got beat on home soil, but nice to see the Canadian back in the winner's circle, getting a huge win. Had a really fantastic tournament over there, and congratulations to our Canadian for getting the win.
Yeah, congratulations to him. A fantastic win on his part, and hopefully he can keep it going.
The PGA Tour was down in Mexico this past weekend. Cabo San Lucas is a beautiful spot. It was won by Austin Eckroat, 24 under par. He won $1.3 million for it. Just beat one stroke ahead of two guys finished tied for second, Justin Lower and Carson Young. This is a course that my dad went to play a few years ago. He sat in a timeshare meeting, and they said, okay, free golf over at this course over here. He got to show up there, and they have a Tiger Woods course and a Davis Love course. They designed these courses, and they're sort of side by side off on the end of the point there. And unfortunately, the day he arrived, they said, we're doing maintenance on the Tiger Woods course. Cannot allow you to play that. You're going to have to play the Davis Love course today. He said it was really too bad that it worked out that way, but he got to play the other course. He said it was gorgeous, really beautiful, and a lot of fun. When I told him that it was in Mexico this weekend, he said, oh, I think it might be the course that we played. And he said it was probably the longest round he's ever played, 5.5 hours for playing only 15 holes. It's an 18-hole course. They couldn't even finish it. It became dark. And he said it's because it's all inclusive there. And the guys were stopping and getting food and drinks every few holes. He said they were doing shots every like fourth hole. They were shooting back, eating tacos, having more drinks and more beers, another shot. And he said it was so long that he just couldn't believe it. And the guys were also super competitive, betting on every hole and every shot and stuff. And they were cheating like crazy to each other, chirping each other, having fights. And as they got drunker, it got even worse. And he said it was just an insane round of golf he ever played.
That is awesome. You know what's even better about that story is the fact that there was nobody behind them pushing them, saying, "Come on, hurry up, let's go." That's good.
Yeah. They might have been just the last group of the day, or everyone just gave up and quit themselves because they were too drunk drinking. I didn't realize the golf courses actually were part of the all-inclusive part of it. That's pretty sweet part.
No, that's awesome. That's fantastic. Like that's so good, especially with the fact that they could take that long playing.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, that's amazing. Okay, big sporting news this week in Vancouver. We have the Grey Cup here, Canada's national championship for CFL football. It's fantastic. I've been to so many Grey Cups over the years, and it's always a fantastic week. There are parties going on all week long, big events, really, really good fun. It's going to be the Toronto Argonauts against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Toronto was able to pull off the huge 30-28 upset over Montreal to get into the big game. Benji Franklin got a couple picks and really was the difference, picking off Cody Fajardo to get the win for Toronto. And then Winnipeg won over Saskatchewan 38-22. Their quarterback, Zach Coloros, had 300 yards passing with 4 touchdowns. 3 of them went to Lawler. He had a fantastic day. 4 catches, 177 yards, and 3 touchdowns. And Oliveira, Brady Oliveira, their running back, 20 carries, 119 yards on the ground, and 1 touchdown there. So it's Toronto against Winnipeg this Sunday, 3 p.m. BC Place. I can't wait to tell you about all the parties and all the fun I'm going to be going to this week, Jason. And yeah, it's great. Unfortunately, the home team's not in it, but it still should be great. We still should be getting a lot of people from all over Canada here celebrating the CFL.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of people from Canada over here supporting their teams. Like you said, it's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of events are going to be planned. And just as long as everybody plays safe out there, it's going to be good. It's going to be good.
It's going to be really good. Yeah, there's a party that I'm heading to where there's something like 50 alumni going to be there. Guys like Corey Philpott, Jamie Terrace, Tommy Europe. Who else is listed on her? Oh, yeah, Louis Pasaglia, Spencer McLennan, Julio Caravetta, G. Roy Simon, on and on and on and on. It's going to be super fun. There always is great parties. The CFL Awards is a big event, obviously, and lots of concerts too. Tons of bands playing. The Jonas Brothers are the guys that are playing the halftime, but there's a big concert on Saturday night and a lot of musical acts here in town for all the people that are arriving from all over the nation.
Yeah, that Jonas Brothers is going to put on an excellent show for sure. Yeah. And yeah, it's just going to be a spectacle for sure here in BC with all the events and everything going down.
Yeah, it sure will be. Okay, just briefly, I wanted to mention the college football, and let's see if I can pull it up. Where is it here? There's just 3 weeks left in college football regular season. There are still 29 teams that are still mathematically alive to get into that 12-team playoff. 20 of the teams have a percentage of 14% or higher. 5 are at 80% or higher to get into the race for the top 12. Miami ended up getting a huge upset loss against Georgia Tech, which was quite shocking. Miami has had a fantastic start to their year already, and then losing there. And then Ole Miss beating Georgia. Georgia was ranked number 5. That really shook up the SEC race. Alabama had their massive 42-13 romp at LSU. That took LSU out of the playoff hunt. And another really good game was BYU beating Utah. Indiana getting a huge win with Curtis Rourke playing there. And the Colorado Buffaloes, they had a really tough beginning of the game, and then once they started rolling, oh my God, fantastic performance from them. College football is so exciting every weekend. I can't believe how many great games there are, and 3 weeks left until we see some playoff action.
Yeah, and I'm definitely looking forward to the playoff action because it's tight. It's tight up at the top, man. Like a lot of the teams have beat the other teams and everything else. So I'm looking forward to seeing exactly how everything shakes out and then what the playoffs standing is going to look like when they start playing.
Yeah, can't wait too. It's going to be great. Okay, sticking with football, let's talk about the NFL football. We had week 10, which finishes off tonight with the game between the Miami Dolphins and the LA Rams. As always, we're going to start in the NFC East. It's a battle at the top between the Eagles and the Commanders. Eagles are 7-2, Commanders are 7-3. Ha ha ha! The Cowboys are 3-6, and the Giants are 2-8. Eagles got a huge 34-6 win over Dallas. Jason Hurts had a great game. Was able to get 2 touchdowns rushing himself and 2 through the air. Over 200 yards passing, couple touchdown passes, 7 carries for 56 yards, and another couple of touchdowns on the ground. A.J. Brown, his favorite target, with over 100 yards receiving. And yeah, pretty easy. Dallas was crappy without Dak. With Dak, and now they're even crappier without Dak. Cooper Rush and Trey Lance just not being able to do much here. Dallas looks bad, and I'm surprised they weren't sellers at the trade deadline. They actually added, and I don't know. Jerry Jones, another year back to the drawing board, trying to get a Super Bowl in Dallas. It's not going to be this year.
Yeah, what did they add again? Because like as I'm looking at like the offensive numbers for Dallas, Cooper Rush, 13 of 23 for 45 yards. Okay, that's cool. And then you got 45 yards. And then you got Dowdle, 12 carries, 53 yards. All right, cool, man. So yeah, that's not going to get it done. That's very, very good. Very good, Jerry Jones. Now Hurts he was great. 2 touchdowns, a little over 200 yards, and then another 2 touchdowns running the ball.
Yeah.
If there's one thing that the one guy that I'm happiest for, like from these 2 teams, is Saquon Barkley. Because Saquon Barkley is now on a team that's 7-2, and that people still have question marks about, but they're still 7-2, which is awesome. Yeah. And this is where Saquon Barkley's at, where it's like, so my team's being questioned at 7-2. I don't know. I've never known what that felt like. He's never known what that felt like, where it's like, my team is good, but yet it's like, oh, well, you guys got some question marks. The hell with that. I'm 7-2.
Yeah.
I'm as happy as I could ever have been. I'm so glad I'm away from the Giants. I'm so happy.
Oh man, he got out of purgatory there and is on a team that's really legit. and yeah, doing great. Um, Philly has won 5 in a row, and this is Nick Sirianni. This is the third time in the Nick Sirianni era they've had over 5-game winning streak or more, and he's the third coach in this era to have that. The other two are Sean McDermott and Andy Reid, Buffalo and KC, who've had a lot of success. So everyone seems to hate Sirianni, but he's delivering the goods. He's another team that's going far. Definitely going to make the playoffs, it looks like, unless they absolutely go in the tank like the end of last year, but they still made the playoffs. Saquon is in a great spot. Jalen Hurts and him in that backfield. It must really keep defensive coordinators up at night, having to try to game plan for both those guys.
Yeah, it does. It most certainly does. It keeps them up at night. And then also, too, it really helps for the Eagles, their cause. And a lot of these games they're winning by a couple touchdowns, which means it takes the Sirianni factor out, because then all of a sudden he doesn't have to overthink things, because it's just like, oh, no, we're winning. That's good.
I'm really glad you made that point, because I really wanted to ensure that point was made, because almost all the starters got some time off at the end of this game, really got to just relax and take some time off, because they're playing Thursday. They have a quick turnaround. They're playing the Commanders this Thursday, which is the battle for the top of this division. And so I think it was great that they were able to blow them out and get that time off to rest, get ready, heal up. It's super bad in Dallas. They did make the announcement today that Cooper Rush will start again. Trey Lance came in and didn't look that effective through a pick himself. And it's ugly there. The only real good thing sometimes with Dallas is their defense. Trayvon Diggs had another touchdown. They got 2 sacks from Micah Parsons and Marvarian Overshown, but other than that, it's bad. Dallas will play their state rivals, Houston Texans, and that's the Monday nighter, a week from tonight. The Eagles host the Commanders in that battle, and that's Thursday, as I mentioned. That's Thursday game. Should be fun. Man, two teams 7-2 against 7-3 for the battle of division. I think that could be the game of the year, Thursday game of the year.
Yeah, I think so too. Both teams are awesome, fantastic to watch. And you know what? I think I'm gonna say this. I'd say whoever controls the running game in that particular game wins that game.
Yeah, that's a good call. I like it. Okay, let's talk about the Commanders. They were actually beat by the Steelers. Commanders fell to 7-3. Steelers are now 7-2 with a 28-27 victory. Russell Wilson 3-0 and just rejuvenating himself. Got himself out of Denver and came over to Pittsburgh. Had to wait a little bit to bide his time, get over an injury, and finally get the opportunity. Some of those passes that he's been throwing, the one to Mike Williams was absolutely gorgeous. Not very many quarterbacks in the world could throw a ball that beautiful to the recently acquired Mike Williams. They just got him on Tuesday, the trade deadline day. Game-winning touchdown there. Another one to Pickens. Nobody catches that ball except Pickens. But just beautiful passes from Russ. It's pretty wild to see him resurrecting his career. Everybody had really written him off after a really tough stay in Denver.
And also, too, I want to say both of those throws were done under duress. A ton of pressure was coming his way.
Yeah.
Now, okay, so Russ finished with just under 200 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a pick. Here's my question to you. Is Mike Tomlin a better coach than Sean Payton? Because Mike Tomlin could actually do this and Sean Payton couldn't.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to argue that he's not. I think Mike Tomlin, I give him credit for being one of the most genius minds in football history. And, Pittsburgh is very lucky to have him. And he's been able to figure out what to do with Russ. I didn't think Sean Payton utilized Russ well at all. And this is really the proof in the pudding here.
Yeah, I'd say that they probably graded on each other. The Peyton and Wilson dynamic, personality-wise, water and oil was never gonna be a match made in heaven. All right.
Yeah.
But I would say you could probably say the same thing with Wilson and Tomlin. I don't know if their personalities quite jive, but at the same time, Tomlin is smart enough to say, I'm just going to have to tweak my offense to really go towards Wilson's strengths.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to do that to make him more successful, make my team more successful. I think that's something that Sean Payton definitely wasn't willing to do, and Tomlin is.
Yeah.
And the proof is in the pudding.
Yeah, definitely. The Steelers haven't had a guy that can sling the ball like this since Ben Roethlisberger. They've tried so many different guys in that time period. Justin Fields did okay. He did okay, but he's just not got the same type of skill set that Russell Wilson has, the experience. He's been able to get himself out of the pocket. He can sense danger really, really quickly and easily. He knows the game. He's been out there for a long career. And when he gets out in space, he's really good at getting his feet set and getting the ball right where he wants it to. And the balls that he's been delivering the last few weeks are just so gorgeous. It's incredible and nice to see. I was always a Russell Wilson fan. I was really disappointed to hear a lot of negative things coming out of Seattle. Not knowing the guy personally, not knowing how he was as a teammate, it's kind of crappy. But hopefully, his skills can really demonstrate how elite of a quarterback and, looking and really knocking on a Hall of Fame career, really.
Yeah, really. They really are. They really are. And just the fact that this particular game from these two teams mattered a great deal.
Yeah.
It mattered, right?
No.
Because Steelers won, they're 7-2, and the Commanders just lost at 7-3. Like that, there's no way that I would have ever thought at this point in time in the NFL season that these two teams would matter as much as they do right now.
That's true, yeah. Daniels played okay. Only completed half of his passes though, with no touchdowns. Eckler had a pretty good game with a couple touchdowns on the ground. McNichols also had a touchdown on the ground, but this kind of came down to that final the final little bit at the end, and it just seemed like the Steelers just had enough. Good acquisitions. I mentioned Mike Williams. They also got Preston Smith in there on Tuesday. He came in and he was a force on the defensive line. And this team looks good. I'm impressed with Steelers being 7-2 and having a fantastic start to their season already. The Steelers host the Ravens, battle for the top of their division coming up this Sunday. That's a game that's really exciting and definitely a lot of people are circling on their calendars.
Yeah, that's a circled game on my calendar as well. That's going to be a great game.
Yeah. And as I said, Washington faces Philly. Okay, let's stick in the East, NFC East. Let's talk about the Giants. We had a game over in Germany, Munich, Germany. Pretty bad that the NFL matchmakers gave them this game though. Two teams that are 2-7 coming in. Not exactly something that you're chomping at the bit for as an NFL fan, but it ended up turning out to be a tightly contested game that was won in overtime by the Panthers 20-17. Panthers now 3-7, Giants 2-8. Giants actually hold, if the NFL season ended today, they would have the #1 overall draft pick in the NFL draft. So the worst team in football right now, and it's become very ugly there in Giants land. As I said, tough for the Munich, Germany fans that they got this matchup, but I'm glad it was tight and it ended up going into overtime.
Yeah, at least the game was like watchable and it was like kind of somewhat exciting with the 2-7 teams just really going at it. Jones wasn't great, but at least he had one rushing touchdown. Young was just had your typical young Bryce Young performance with 126 yards, one touchdown.
Yeah.
At least no picks. So that's good.
Yeah.
Chuba Hubbard, our guy, 28 carries, 153 yards and a touchdown. He had an excellent game. He had a fantastic game. And yeah, you know what? After him is only the other running back for the Giants, Tracy Jr., who also had over 100 yards and a touchdown. But Hubbard definitely had offensive player of the game in this one.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned Chuba. He just signed a contract extension this past week, 4-year, $33 million contract extension. So he will be in the NFL, for the foreseeable future. And great that they were able to reward him for great play of the season.
Great that they were able to reward him because like he's literally their offense. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Okay, the Giants have a bye. Both teams have byes this week. The Giants next face the Bucks on the 24th, and the Panthers host the Chiefs also on the 24th. Both teams have a bye. Okay, let's talk about the NFC West. We got them all. Yeah. NFC West. So we got a lot of teams really close. The Cardinals are leading the division 6-4. 49ers are 5-4 in second. The Rams, as I said, are playing later on tonight, 4-4, and the Seahawks have a bye this week, sitting at the bottom at 4-5. The Cardinals had an easy win over the New York Jets, 31-6. The Jets are now 3-7, and the Cardinals are looking good. Since Kyler Murray has returned from injury, he's looked super solid. He had 1 touchdown passing, 2 touchdowns rushing, and this team really relies on their rushing game a lot. They got James Conner, and he contributes a ton. And they had a really easy win over the New York Jets.
Very much an easy win over the New York Jets. Kyler Murray literally only missed 2 passes all day that day, which was almost perfect. So he had a fantastic game. Conner had one TD rushed in, but he also caught 5 passes for another 80 yards. So he was integral to that offense. Harrison Jr. caught a touchdown, had 54 yards in passing, receiving yards. But the Jets, I don't know what's going on. Rodgers, oh man, I think you were brought in to pass for more than 151 yards. It's just I'm just saying. Yeah. I'm just saying. I think you were brought in to do a little bit more than just that. Their offense looked absolutely anemic. Nothing seemed like it worked. I don't know what they're gonna do. I don't even know what the answer is. I don't know what they're gonna do.
I mentioned Jake Paul off the start being one of those polarizing figures. Lots of people hate him, lots of people love him. Aaron Rodgers is another one of those guys. A lot of people hate Aaron Rodgers. He's had a lot of issues, and there's a lot of people that love him. But I am leaning more to the camp where he irritates me, and the one thing that irritates me a lot about him is just his body language on the side of the field. Yeah, he just looks disinterested. He looks pissed off all the time at his teammates. He doesn't ever seem to really have the dog fight in him. I think in his entire career, he's had like 6 comeback victories, in the 4th quarter or overtime. He just doesn't seem to be that guy that you can rely on. Hey, just go get us a win. He just, once he throws a couple incompletions, either they're his fault or the other guy's fault, he just seems to kind of shrug and pout and just doesn't really deliver much. And at 41 years old, if you're going to act like that still, it's probably not going to go over too well. And it's going to lead to a 3-7 record.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Like, I don't know if there's a lot of fight left in him. How about that? He's got his 1 Super Bowl win.
Yeah.
He's made a lot of money. What more does he really have to prove? And he's in a situation where nothing is going right.
Yeah.
So it's kind of easier just to be like, yeah, none of this is my fault, by the way.
Yeah.
And then just always throw that in there. By the way, you brought me here. I didn't bring myself here, so none of this is my fault.
Yeah.
That's what he always feels like with Aaron Rodgers. Like there's that tad bit of arrogance to him.
Yeah.
And the arrogance is good when you're winning, but it doesn't look great when you're just losing and getting hammered.
It's pretty ridiculous when we're going to look at his resume at the end of his career, at the end of this season or next, and you're going to see one Super Bowl victory at, a lot of people consider him one of the greatest passers of all time, the most pure passer, in the top of the top. And, he's only been able to deliver one championship in that long, lengthy career. Getting out of Green Bay, they said, oh, you can't win in Green Bay because it's community owned and they're never going to go for high, free agents. And a lot of guys don't want to go there in the winter and all this kind of stuff. Let's go to New York. It's glitz and glamour, lots of money. This was supposed to be it. That whole protracted, is he going? Is he leaving? Is he going? Where is he going to go? All that kind of stuff just irritated me. And everybody saying, oh, the Jets are now a Super Bowl favorite. And I'm like, are you talking about the Jets? Like, come on, what are you talking about? They're going to screw this up. And, this is a 40-year-old man that's coming in off of Achilles tear and, missing all the last year. I did not suspect that they would be good. And so it's not a shock to me that they aren't. So, another lost season in New York. And to me, it was going to happen. There was no ifs, ands, or buts. The one note I want to give on this game, the Cardinals have not allowed a touchdown in 3 straight games. We're talking the Cardinals. They have never been really good defensively. This is pretty impressive for them. It's actually the first time in franchise history in 98 years. 98 years. 1926 was the last time they had 3 straight games where they didn't allow a touchdown. That's a long time.
So could you argue then, could this be their best defense that they've ever put together for an NFL season, period?
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, I think it is. It's incredible. They've been waiting forever there for a defense, and they might finally have one. So the Cardinals have a bye week this week, and Seahawks, the next opponent on the 24th. The Jets host the Colts, and that's in the early window on Sunday. Okay, sticking with the NFC West, let's talk about the 49ers, who got a really good 23-20 victory over the Bucs. This was one of the games of the weekend, I thought, and I was really excited about the matchup. Jake Moody ended up being the hero. He had missed 3 field goals in this game, and they finally have to rely on him at the end. He hits a game-winning walk-off 44-yard field goal to make up for those missed field goals. Ricky Pearsall, first career touchdown catch, really nice 46-yard touchdown there. And Brock Purdy, a fantastic day, absolutely was one of the biggest key pieces for the team. And getting Christian McCaffrey back, he didn't look himself, but he still really garners a lot of attention for the defense, and that's going to open up lanes and areas for the rest of the guys.
Yeah, CMC, 13 carries, 39 yards, but another 6 receptions for 68 yards. I think it's just going to take him a while to get his legs back underneath him, but it was good that he was out there and that he was playing. Awesome. First and foremost. Yeah. Purdy was awesome. Again, like as you said, 353 yards, 2 touchdowns. George Kittle, always awesome. I love that guy. I love his enthusiasm whenever he plays.
Go ahead. That one catch that he made in the corner of the end zone for the touchdown was spectacular. That was, elite catch, and one of the few tight ends that can make that kind of a pass catch and touchdown. Amazing what Bosa, gave it to him. There's nobody really that's going to be able to make that type of catch at the tight end position.
No, not really. Yeah. Well, okay, except for maybe 3 tight ends I can think of off the bat, which would be Laporta, Andrews, and Kelsey. Besides those guys, which are pretty much the top, probably Brock Bowers too. Okay, besides those four.
Yeah, it was fantastic though.
That
Yeah,
was a
really,
great
really
catch.
good.
Great catch.
Amazing.
Great catch.
Yeah. Yeah. Tampa just looked a little bit off. They're still missing their top wide receivers, and
Yeah.
you know, when Evans and Godwin both went down, this team was all of a sudden, oh man, Jesus Christ, this is going to be tough. And Baker Mayfield, I don't know numbers wise if this was his worst offensive showing of the year, but I think so. Only 116 yards passing, 1 touchdown. I don't know how they recover from that. I thought they were going to go in this Tuesday and get a couple receivers. They didn't do so. They're 4-6 now, and this could be a lost year.
It could be a lost year. It probably is a lost year, to be honest with you. The fact that this game was even as close as it was amazing on the Bucs' part, because like they made this a game, knowing that they're just that hampered on offense. So good on the Bucs to make it close.
Tampa does have a bye this week to regroup. As I mentioned earlier, the 49ers host the Seahawks. Okay. I mentioned the Monday Nighter a couple times. That goes tonight, 5:15 kickoff Pacific time. Rams and Dolphins. Rams are sitting at 4-4. Dolphins are 2-6 on the season. They're both going in opposite directions. Rams won 3 in a row. Dolphins lost 3 in a row. Dolphins could be without Tyreek Hill as well. He injured his wrist and he missed practice on Saturday. Might not be able to play. LA is a 1.5 point favorite. The over-under is 48.5. Tua's looked really good in his 2 games back off the concussion. Last week he was 25 of 28, 231 yards and a couple touchdowns. And the week before that, they lost 30-27 to Buffalo. It was a really good game. The week before that in Arizona, they lost 28-27 to Arizona. He was 28 for 38, 234 yards and a touchdown. But this team just doesn't seem to be able to be coming back as they were before Tua went out with his concussion. Last week, the Rams beat the Seahawks 26-20 in overtime. Stafford was great, 300 yards passing, a couple touchdowns. Cooper Kupp, great game as well. Demarcus Robinson is filling in for Puka Nacua, who had a couple touchdowns there. Puka was ejected last week for fighting and also injured his knee again. But they think he's good to go tonight, which is very key for the Rams.
Yeah. You know what? I think I kind of remember when he got ejected from that game for fighting. That's just passion. That's just being a football player. You know what I mean? Like I don't have a problem with that. And like I just didn't have a problem with him being ejected from that. I'm just like, whatever. Nice. That's like it was more concerning that he actually got himself hurt, but I'm glad to hear that he should be playing in this game.
Yeah. Okay, let's turn to the NFC North. We've got the Lions sitting on top at 8-1. The Vikings second at 7-2. The Packers 6-3. They had a bye this week, and the Bears are last at 4-5. This Lions Texans game from last night was bizarre. Amazing. This has happened 10 times in history that a quarterback has thrown 5 picks and got a victory. I just did not think that Jared Goff was going to be able to pull this off. 5 picks is just insane and brutal, and you just think they're just giving it away. But something happened at halftime. I think Dan Campbell blistered the paint off the walls with his speech and made sure that they were aware they had to change some things. They came out in the second half, got an immediate pick themselves of C.J. Stroud, and were able to score a ton of points in that second half and pull off the 26-23 victory. Texans have fallen down to 6-4, and crazy that Detroit won this game.
Yeah, there's no way that Detroit should have won this game. Like if you have 5 interceptions, that means that probably should have led you to a blowout loss. Not just a loss, but a blowout loss. Yeah. But the fact that the Lions came back and they won. And let me say, when they won, I mean, they just won. They won by millimeters. by that football just getting in on the inside of
the
the field
post.
goal.
Yeah.
Like
He
literally.
hit one on this side of the post and then other one on this side of the post
That's
just by like the slice of a paper, It was
like of a piece of paper. Like it was that was impressive.
Yeah.
I love that part, but just the fact that the Lions somehow managed to find a way to win. And I remember Dan Campbell was talking to one of the sideline reporters just before, I want to say half or something like that.
Yeah.
And he was already fired up. It was almost as if he already knew what he was going to tell his team. And it's like, oh no, we're coming back. We're coming back and blah, blah, blah. Like, and I'm like, in my head, I'm like, I remember hearing him say this before when the team wasn't good.
Right.
But also, too, knowing that it would pay off by putting the culture in now for it to pay off later down the road, which it obviously absolutely had, because this is a game that you could point to where it worked.
Yeah, well, he was being interviewed right out of the locker room heading out for the second half, and he said, we got to start winning the turnover battle here. And as he was speaking, they picked the ball off. And that was pretty sweet and cool. And you can't really be a football fan without loving the interviews with Dan Campbell. The guy is always fired up. He just speaks his mind. He doesn't say the cliches like you and I have said. And it's just a breath of fresh air and fun. And it must be a great locker room to be part of every week with him as the head guy.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you know that guy's in the trenches with you. He's in the foxhole and he's doing all the dirt. He's getting just as dirty as the rest of you. And he's just like, no, come on, boys. Let's dig it out here. Let's find a way to win this game. Yeah. And they did. Like, it blows my mind that they found a way to win this game when Goff had 5 interceptions. He turned over the ball himself to the other team 5 different times, 5 different ways.
Incredible. Yeah. They're happy they got Jake Bates. Really nice. 52 yards and 58-yard field goals. Quite the robo leg. CJ Stroud having a little bit of an off year compared to his rookie year, maybe the sophomore slump. He's just not the same as he was last year. But I do want to make mention of John Mechie III. He got his first career touchdown. This is the Canadian guy. We've made mention of him on the podcast before. He missed his rookie year with leukemia and was not able to play. His brother is playing in the Grey Cup this Sunday here in Vancouver. He's been a defensive back with Toronto for many years, and great to see John Mechie getting his first career touchdown. Congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations. Congratulations to that, and congratulations to beating leukemia first and foremost.
Yeah.
Congratulations to that.
Yeah. No kidding. Yeah. Incredible. Okay, so the Lions host the Jags this coming weekend. That should be a guaranteed win. And the Texans go to Dallas, another guaranteed win. And as I mentioned, that's the Monday night, or 1 week from tonight. Okay, we're sticking with the NFC North, and we're talking about the Vikings, who are in second place. This is a dog of a game. A 12-7 victory for the Vikings over the Jags. Vikings 7-2, Jags 2-8. Sam Darnold really tried heavily, not as much as Jared Goff did, but Sam Darnold tried to throw this game away. Jags are so bad that he couldn't do so. They got 4 field goals from John Parker Romo, another Romo in the NFL, and get the 12-7 win. Trevor Lawrence couldn't play because he had a sprained AC joint in his left shoulder. So Mac Jones was the starter, and he turned over the ball 3 times in the fourth quarter. The last one was the final nail in the coffin that ensured the Jags were still going to be battling for that number 1 overall draft pick with the Giants.
Yeah, and they're happy to do it. They're happy to battle with the Giants. Well, you know what? As soon as I saw Mac Jones trotting in there, and I was just like, well, I don't know what's going to happen in this game, but I'm pretty sure the Jags are going to win. And would you look at that? I was right. They didn't win. So Darnold, he didn't have a very good game, but guess what, Darnold? As long as you don't have a very good game against not a very good team, you're probably going to win against that team. And that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, no, that's what turned out to be. Aaron Jones was injured and had to leave. He contributed a lot, over 100 yards, all-purpose yards, but he was injured. Hopefully it's nothing serious. We'll get some word over the next couple of days. All three of Sam Darnold's picks were on passes towards Justin Jefferson. This is probably Jefferson's lowest total of the week or of the year, 5 catches for 48 yards. If he would have been able to, get either one of those 3 interceptions, he would have had a better game. But anyway, Vikings move on. They get a win. A win is a win is a win. They head to Tennessee to play the Titans on Sunday, early window, and the Jags go to the Lions, as I mentioned earlier. Okay, let's talk about those sad sack Bears. The Bears are just looking uglier and uglier and uglier the last few weeks. Caleb Williams, I was wondering if when Matt Eberflus stepped up to the podium today, he was going to say, we've decided to make a change at quarterback, and Tyson Bagent is our guy now. He did not do so. Just going to keep with the status quo. And he also said we're not going to change the offensive play caller, which a lot of people had some suspect that he was going to do so. But it was a horrible performance from the Bears. The Patriots won 19-3. Patriots moved to 3-7. Bears fall to 4-5.
Yeah, this should have been a game that the Bears should have been able to beat the Patriots, but they couldn't do it because, again, their offense is anemic. It doesn't even exist. 16 of 30 for 120 yards. Again, 16 of 30 for 120 yards. That's not going to get it done. No. Drake May looked good, though. He had 184 yards, a touchdown. Yes, he did have a pick, but he won the game, so that's why he looked better.
Yeah. They had 9 sacks of Caleb Williams, so that's definitely one of the things. A lot of people are going to blame that on the offensive line, but I'm blaming it a lot on Caleb. He doesn't have the awareness that you got to get it out of your hands. Just if you don't see somebody open, you got to sling it out of bounds, man. Like, you can't hold it more than 3 seconds. It's just not going to help you out here. You're going to take too much punishment. Your offensive line are going to hate you, and it's going to be big trouble. A lot of those sacks were definitely on Caleb Williams, and it was bad. And I just don't think he has the understanding of how to get, you get your looks, you get your reads. If they're not there, you just get rid of the friggin' ball instead of getting sacked and taking losses all the time.
Well, yeah, because he's still used to playing like at the collegiate level where he could get away with that, where he could sit back there and then run around and be like, I'm so much better athletically that I don't have to worry about like the consequences. Yeah. But now that you're in the NFL, no, you actually do have to worry about the consequences because everybody's really good athletic.
Oh, man.
Or on your level or better than you.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you got to get the ball up.
He's endured 20 sacks in the past 3 weeks, 9 this week, and it was ugly. They host the Packers Sunday early window. The Patriots host the Rams also same time. Okay, now we're talking about the NFC South. Your Falcons are leading the way, 6-4. Bucks have fallen to 4-6. Saints and the Panthers are both 3-7. The Saints did get the 20-17 victory over the Falcons, though. This was a game that I was really looking forward to. I thought could be one of those fun games of the weekend. We had bad clock management and play calling friggin' killed the Falcons in that final drive. They had an opportunity to win this game. At least get an opportunity at a game-tying field goal, and they just blew it there. That was really poor play calling. Kirk Cousins usually is a guy you can pretty much count on to come down and do it, and I'm personally not blaming it on him. I just think very poor clock management and play calling there.
Yeah, like they had a chance to win this game. And I'm like, they should win this game, but somehow they're going to mess it up. That was my feeling. I'm like,
Yeah.
they should win this game, but somehow they're going to mess it up. And they did. The clock management, everything that they did for that last drive was just, anyways, it didn't work.
No.
Didn't work out well. It didn't work out well. I thought Cousins actually had a really good game with 306 yards. The guy that was awesome was Bijan Robinson with 20 carries, 116 yards, 2 touchdowns. He was fantastic. It just, unfortunately, it just wasn't enough.
Yeah. Bijan is a stud, absolute beast. For the Saints, Derek Carr had 2 touchdown passes to MVS, Marquez Valdes-Scantling, and Alvin Kamara, another good game. He also suffered a little bit of an injury. Hopefully it's nothing too serious. Taysom Hill was great as well, and Tyrann Mathieu had a huge pick of Cousins that was very key in this win. Also, you and I were chanting Young Wei Koo a few weeks ago. Nobody's chanting his name after this one. He was only 1 for 4 from field goals. He hit a 27-yarder, and he is only 2 for 7 in his last 3 games. So not good. Missed the game tying field goal. 6:43 left in the fourth, and hasn't been good lately. He was a guy you could count on. Last 2-3 weeks, he hasn't been there.
Yeah, no, and that's unfortunate because if he had been there this game, Falcons would have won this game.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, that did not happen.
Falcons travel to the Broncos, play them Sunday in the late window, and the Saints host the Browns, and that's in the early window Sunday. Okay, now turning to the AFC East, we've got the Bills sitting on top, blowing away the division 8-2. Jets sit tied with the Pats at 3-7, and the Dolphins are 2-6. The Bills seemed like they had a pretty easy time with the Colts, able to win 30-20 and get the nice win. Joe Flacco was picked off 3 times, and I'm really hanging most of this victory on the defense for Buffalo. They were great. They were able to score on the ground, but Josh Allen just okay, pretty good day, but I'm really thinking that the defense was huge with this one against the Colts.
Yeah, forcing those 3 picks by Flacco to throw, and the Bills defense was definitely on it. They were fantastic. James Cook was very good, 19 carries, 80 yards, and a touchdown. Like their rushing attack, for the Bills rushing attack between him and Allen, who had 8 carries, 50 yards, and a touchdown himself, was very, very, very effective. The Colts actually did have a good running game with Jonathan Taylor, 21 carries for 114 yards himself, but not enough to get the win. Those 3 picks by Flacco were very costly, and it hurt their chances to win the game.
Yeah. I'm really looking forward to this Sunday's game between the Bills and the Chiefs. Should be one of the games of the year. Can't wait for it.
Yeah, no, definitely. Because the Chiefs just keep on winning. I can't wait to get to that game. Because
Colts head to the New York Jets and play early window Sunday. This is the Chiefs game now. We've got to it here. 9-0. Unbelievable starting the season this well. They've actually won 15 straight games. Chargers sitting in second place in the AFC West at 6-3. Broncos are 5-5, and the Raiders had a bye, and they're sitting at 2-7. Unbelievable that the Chiefs can figure out ways to win. This was probably the strangest one. I don't think anybody had this on a bingo card, being able to block a late field goal to get the win. Will Lutz was 0 for 2 on the field goals, and Leo Chenal blocked the field goal for the victory. He is a 2-time Super Bowl winning linebacker, and oh my God, he had a hell of a high school career, this guy. I'm going to pull out some of his stats while you make some comments on this game.
Okay. All right. First off, about this game, the fact that the Chiefs are 9-0, and this is I don't know. Like I keep looking at this team saying this is definitely not the best incarnation of the Chiefs team that we've ever seen.
No.
It's not even actually even close. The fact that their special teams and their defense is literally off the charts, like it's off the charts. The fact that they won this game, where I'm like, holy cow, the Broncos look like they're going to win this game. That's that's not a hard field goal to win the game.
Yeah.
And then it's like blocked, and I'm like, wait, what? Right? Like it's almost as if this is supposed to be that one season where the Chiefs aren't very good, but they're good enough to not be beaten.
Yeah.
Almost. Like it's just I like everything just seems to be falling in place. Like I don't know.
Smoke and mirrors somehow figuring it out. Yeah, Mahomes and this team, they just have horseshoes and they just have ways of figuring out, just doing enough to get victories. Out of this 15 games, I think 9 of them have been one-score games and games that they easily could have lost if the chips fell a different way, and they just seem to always fall in the way of KC.
Yeah, like it just seems that everything just falls their way. Like is it because Andy Reid is just like, I'm super old, so this was what was bound to happen at some point in time where chips fall my way now because like I'm of an advanced age. I've gotten to this certain point in time. I've gotten the quarterback I've always wanted in my lifetime, and now everything just works out.
Yeah.
Like I just have to coach a little bit, and that's just enough.
Just enough. Yeah, just doesn't enough. This guy, Leo Chanel, the linebacker who got the blocked field goal, I was looking him up a little bit. In high school, he played both running back and linebacker. As a senior, he rushed for 2,038 yards and 42 touchdowns and had 226 receiving yards and another 3 touchdowns. On defense, he had 120 tackles and 7 tackles for loss. He was named both the offensive and defensive player of the year in the state that he played it. And unbelievable, he finished his high school career with 3,706 rushing yards, 68 touchdowns, and 1,300 receiving yards and another 17 touchdowns. And on defense, 385 tackles, 55 tackles for loss, 7 sacks, and 3 interceptions. Like, whoa! The guy was just amazing on both sides of the ball, like incredible. And then went to college and they just made him a defensive guy playing linebacker.
Yeah. So okay. So correct me if I'm wrong. Does that guy start as a linebacker for the Chiefs? Is he just, or is he just a special teams guy?
No, he starts with the Chiefs. Yeah.
No. So he starts with the Chiefs.
Yeah.
That just gives you an idea of just how good you have to be in the NFL.
Yeah.
Like that guy is that good on offense, but everybody just said, you know what? I think you're better on defense. We're just gonna go with that. We're gonna make you just play defense. But that's how good these guys are.
Yeah, incredible. And he was picked in the 3rd round, 103rd overall. This is his 3rd season. He's almost hasn't tasted a loss in his life. He's won 2 Super Bowls already, and the front runner for a 3rd. Pretty incredible life.
That's one heck of a way to start your career, which is like, so how'd you start your career? As a rookie, I won a Super Bowl. Then in my 2nd year, I won another Super Bowl. And now I'm going for another Super Bowl.
Yeah, and we've not won 9 our first 9 games in the 3rd year. Yeah. Incredible. Yeah, so good. As I said, the Chiefs shuffle off to Buffalo Sunday. That's going to be the game of the weekend. And the Broncos host the Falcons. So should be a hell of a good game there. Okay, we're just down to the last couple games here. We've got the Chargers beating the Titans 27-17. LA has 3 straight wins. Great Chargers defense. They got 7 sacks on Will Levis. They got a couple rushing touchdowns, 1 through the air. And I'm really liking what Harbaugh's brought to this team. They're not stacked offensively, but they have enough weapons for Herbert, and they're getting the job done. Great rushing attack and getting enough wins here. A nice win to improve to 6-3.
Yep. Herbert got one throwing touchdown, threw for 164 yards, 1 rushing touchdown. I think what Harbaugh has instilled in the Chargers is just consistency.
Yeah.
Consistency with effort, consistency with quality of play, just being consistent, period. And that's what's being shown. That's what they're doing, and that's the reason why they're 6-3.
Yeah.
And they're so much better and farther ahead than they've ever been in the last couple of years, and that's purely because of the coach.
Yeah, it's
which
amazing,
is an amazing thing to say about Jim Harbaugh. But that's what he's always done.
Every single time he's started with a new program, he's completely turned it around right away, immediately. So yeah, that was a really good hire for them, and yeah, I'm glad they finally are looking like they're pointed in that really good direction. The Chargers host the Cincinnati Bengals, and that's the Sunday nighter, which should be a great game. The Titans host the Vikings, and that's early window on Sunday. We're down to our last game here. This was the Bengals and the Ravens game from the Thursday nighter. Hell of a great game. Ravens ended up winning 35-34. Ravens are now 7-3. Bengals are 4-6. This came down to Joe Burrow almost pulled this victory out. Got the touchdown late to Jamar Chase. Then they decided to go for 2, and there was two penalties that should have been called on that 2-point conversion, and they didn't call either of them, and Baltimore gets the victory. There was a pass interference call that should have been called on Gesicki, and there's also a blow to the head on Joe Burrow, and they didn't call it either. Second week in a row, should have been a face mask penalty on Sam Darnold the week before, and this week, pretty shitty way to end this game that could have came down to a real legitimate shot at a 2-point conversion.
Okay, first question. Do you think they should have even gone for the 2-point conversion or kicked the 1-pointer to put it in overtime? Because, like, for me, I was thinking about it like this. What are you scared of? What are you scared of?
Well,
like, both defenses aren't stopping the other team. So whatever, man.
Yeah. I think if they lose the coin toss and Baltimore gets the ball, Ravens are going down and scoring and winning, right? So you're kind of throwing the game up to a coin toss. And if they weren't being able to stop the Ravens at all, Lamar and the Ravens had just marched down and scored after drive after drive after drive in that second half. So I think because of the way that game was going, I would have went for 2.
Okay, because I think I still would have went for 1. Because, at the end of the day, don't I still want to believe in my team? Don't I still want to believe in my defense?
Yeah.
Yes, you believe in your offense because they've been doing it all game. That's great. But also as a coach, you have to step back and be like, no, I still believe in our team. I still believe that our defense could possibly do something. You see that? You see what you just did there? Shaking your head like that? That's what their head coach did. And guess what happened? They lost the game.
Yeah.
They lost.
Yeah. You can always, like they say, hindsight's 20/20. You can always look back, right?
Perfect.
But I just saw them not being able to stop Baltimore for so many drive after drive after drive, and they were tired as hell because of that. And Henry is a guy that gets better as the games go on. He just ends up, being able to drive the ball, get 6, 8, 10 yards per rush. And I think what Zach Taylor saw was just like, nah, we got no shot. If Baltimore gets the ball, they're getting the touchdown. The time of possession was almost identical, but I don't know. I just saw in that second half, Lamar and that team. Lamar had 4 touchdowns, and that team was just a juggernaut. They were being fantastic. It was a tough call, I'm sure, for Taylor, but the penalty should have been called. They would have been able to be on the 1. They would have had a nice legitimate shot at that 2-pointer. And it was a bad miss again by the officials. And I hate when games end up in their hands and they screw up.
Yeah, no, it obviously sucks, especially when they screw up that badly. And the fact that they missed like 2 calls.
Yeah.
Like if they missed the 1, fine. But since they missed like both calls, that's really bad. And the other thing that sucked was the fact that one of these guys had to lose because they both had excellent games.
Oh my
Burrow
God.
had over 400 yards passing and 4 touchdowns.
Yeah. And
And
look
then
at
the other
and look
guy
at
from-
look at Chase's numbers.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. It was like a video game. 11 receptions, 264 yards, 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
If you have him in fantasy football, you won.
You
I just won. I won
Yeah.
with one guy. One
Amazing.
guy.
Yeah, there shouldn't have been a loser in this one. It would have been great if they would have kicked the extra point and no team scored in overtime and they finished it a tie. That would have been just for everyone.
Yes,
that would have been.
would have
They
been.
probably both could have had 400 yards, if 400, 400 or 500 yards passing, and everyone just get more more stats, and would have been great. Also, I do want to mention the Canadian Chase Brown. For the Bengals, had another good game with a touchdown too, and yeah, this was a hell of a game. I was just super choked that yeah, it ended that way. Bengals play. They head to LA and play the Chargers Sunday nighter. Should be fun. Ravens Pittsburgh battle of that top of that division. AFC South. We've covered all the teams. Texans lead 6-4. Colts are 4-6, Titans are 2-7, Jags are 2-8. All 4 teams lost on Sunday. This is the joke division, and I'm glad we don't have to cover any games. We've already covered the rest of it. But we do have now that we've finished with the football, we've got the UFC. This was not looking like a great card on paper. When you saw it, when you saw tons of matchups, you thought, this could kind of a lopsided thing and not that great. This was a bit of a historic thing, being the 100th Apex card. Finally, the last one of the year, thankfully. This was UFC Fight Night 247, Vegas 100. There was only 3 decisions on this entire card, 5 knockouts, 3 submissions, and it was pretty wild matchmaking when I actually started really breaking it down. And I realized, wow, they did a lot of cool things with this one. They put an OG gatekeeper, Neil Magny, up against this Carlos Prates, who's already got 3 KOs in 2024 in his first 3 UFC fights. He comes in as the big favorite against the guy that's been in there with almost everybody you can name, who's got records in this division. Neil Magny has the most wins in welterweight history, the most fight time, the most significant strikes, the most total strikes, and the 4th most takedowns in his 34th UFC fight. So insane. Held his own early until there was some kind of weird phantom punch that just sort of grazed off his temple, sent him face first to the canvas, gave Carlos Pratos his 4th KO of 2024, 4-0 in the UFC. All finishes in spectacular fashion.
Yeah, it was funny because it was once Prates got comfortable in the fight, figured out his distance against Magny, and was able to disentangle himself from Magny and him trying to be a poke constrictor and wrap himself to him. Once he was able to do all of that and started getting his shots off, then it was literally game over.
Done.
It was game over, and it was over quite quickly as far as I'm concerned. And the fact that he didn't even, I think he hit him with the left, and he didn't hit him flush. That was a grazing shot that dropped him like a stone, and he was done. So Prates
he's got so much power. I actually fast forward rewound. I tried to go frame by frame to try to see how much that connected. It barely grazed him, and it still just sent him to the canvas face first. The thing that hurt Magny was he was 0 for 7 in his takedowns. Couldn't get him down. You said he was the bull constrictor, and he was great on there, but he just wasn't able to get the fight to the mat. He needed it there to be able to have success. Magny outstruck him and was able to get a little bit of the early part of this. I thought Magny was winning, but once Prates was able to get a takedown, get a knockdown early, and then that one that was the walk-off KO, that was it. The Nightmare, Carlos Prates, now calls out Jack Della Maddalena, which is probably a bit of a stretch because Maddalena is number 4 in the division. Prates will take over number 15. or he also asked for Jeff Neal, who's number 10 in the division. So maybe Jeff Neal, but maybe between 10 and 15, we're going to see somebody more in that category for his next opponent.
Yeah, Madalena, that's shooting for the stars. Love it. Not going to get it.
Yeah.
Jeff Neal is definitely attainable, but he probably still fights somebody a little bit below Jeff Neal's quality. Yeah.
Madalena is on a 17-fight win streak, a 7-0 in the UFCs, and he's only been fighting since January 2022, so that's pretty insane. I like his team, the Fight Nerds, passing out the nerd glasses, all the guys wearing them in the cage and outside in the crowd. And yeah, this is a guy that's come on a meteoric rise, 4-fight knockout streak. Alex Pereira and him are both tied with 4. Steve Garcia is leading the UFC, all divisions, with 5 fights in a row with a knockout. So this is a guy that's on a meteoric rise, and look out. We're going to see some pretty damn impressive fights from him in this welterweight division. It has so many killers in it. I'm going to just give you the next guys on the list. We've got Vicente Luque at 14, Michael Venom Page at 13, Michael Morales at 12, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson at 11, Jeff Neal at 10.
Yeah, that's a killer's row right there. Yeah. That's very, very impressive.
Very impressive, yeah. Michael Venom Page actually just had a grappling match this past weekend, which was pretty cool. The UFC released him or allowed him to have a big grappling match. So yeah. Okay. We also had in the co-main event, we also had an OG against a kind of a relative newcomer. Well, this guy's making his UFC debut, the Dutch Knight, or Rudolph the Red-Nosed Ritter de Ritter, Rainier de Ritter. Yeah, this guy is was a champion in the one championship, a middleweight champion, and is coming in with a 17-10 record. And he's originally from Holland, and most Dutch fighters are known as incredible kickboxers. That's what always been their calling card. This guy comes in as a submission expert, and I'm really disappointed at how lousy his stand-up really is. He just does not really look like an elite fighter in stand-up. And Henry Hooft is his coach now. I don't know how long he's been his coach, but Henry Hooft is one of the greatest striking coaches, one of the greatest kickboxers of all time, had over 100 kickboxing fights. And I hope Ritter goes and learns to stand up, because this wasn't a good performance stand up. This was pretty wild matchmaking against 2 submission experts, and I'm pretty surprised that De Ritter ended up submitting Gerald Meerschaert, because Meerschaert is one of those guys that's a submission expert from way back.
Yeah, it was cool to see that they were matched up like that.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. I would say Henry Hooft is a new coach to De Ritter. Clearly.
Be. Yeah.
That must be, because his striking wasn't there, even though he did land some significantly powerful shots at the end of the first round that hurt Meerschaert.
Yeah.
So that was impressive. But the fact that Meerschaert knew that he had the advantage on his feet, which he absolutely did, that told you everything you need to know about De Ritter's stand-up.
Yeah.
And the fact that Gerald Meerschaert had the advantage in the stand-up game, which he did.
Yeah, because Meerschaert has 29 submissions out of his 35 fights. He's definitely the guy. Out of his 35 finishes, 29 submissions, 37 wins in his career, and he's the better stand-up guy. So super weird and strange. We'll hopefully see De Ritter go to Hooft and get a lot better stand-up, so we can come in. This is the second signing of a champion in another high level promotion. Kai Asakara got signed from Ryzen, and he's fighting on the December 7th card coming up against Alexander Pantoja. So I'm glad that they're able to recruit and get these champions from other divisions. I just thought he would be a bit more well-rounded there. So we'll see. Hopefully he goes back to the drawing board and has a much better performance standing up next time. If they want him to put him up against a grappler, I'd love to see him fight the winner of this weekend's fight between Paul Craig and Bo Nickel. I think that would be such a great matchup for him to fight next.
That would be great. That's a great call. That's a great call. That's a great matchmaking. That would be good to say, all right, well, if you think you're that good, going up against these two freaking guys, whoever wins or whoever loses, like whatever works.
Yeah.
Like either one of those guys is a great matchup for Ritter.
Okay, let's blast through the rest of it. We saw Gaston Bolanos get a really nice victory over the UFC debuting Cortavius Romanius. These both guys came out of the Dana White Contender Series. Bolano was the better fighter on Saturday. He outstruck him 80-30, significant strikes 53-17, landed a couple of takedowns, and Romius is very powerful, landed 4 takedowns himself, but Bolanos got the better of him and got the decision on Saturday.
Yeah, I thought he just had a little bit more tenacity to him, a little bit more fight, and on top of that, he had better stamina than Romeo, because I think Bolanos, his stamina held up better in the last round as opposed to Romeo's did, and which I think that was the round that got Bolanos the win. And also, too, Bolanos' striking was technically sounder than Romeo's. Romeo's needs to work on that for sure for his future endeavors when he fights. But Bolanos, that was a great win by him against a very tough opponent.
Yeah, true. There was a decision on this card. Jillian Robertson got the decision over Luana Pinheiro. Robertson criticized her performance, said she was really mad that she didn't get the finish. She didn't unleash the ground and pound. She should have early on in the fight when she had her down, had some control on top. I think that would have wore her out, and she probably could have got the finish. Even if she didn't get the finish initially in that grounded pound, I think it would have really laid the beat down on her early. I think it would have provided the benefit of the possibility of a stoppage late. Dean Thomas is her head coach now, and I think Dean's going to be able to really implement a lot of great things for her going forward. Nice to see the Canadian get the win, but hopefully Dean Thomas ends up getting her in with her and helps her get a lot more finishes coming forward.
Yeah, because Dean Thomas absolutely knows what he's talking about. I think he's a great coach. I think he's a fantastic coach. And then also too, Robertson won this fight typically how she always wins this fight, through her grappling. Yeah. And she was the superior grappler. She never gave up. She was always attached to Pinheiro somehow, some way. When Pinheiro was detached away from her, I thought she was the better striker. But Robertson was very good at crowding her and getting her to the mat.
Yeah, you're right. The fight that opened up the main card had UFC debut of Mansur Abdul Malik against Dusko Todorovic, and Mansur ended up getting a $50K bonus for his huge win. This was pretty amazing. He absolutely blitzed Dusko, got the TKO, just was able to just start landing some massive strikes, outstruck him 31-3, got the knockdown, and Mike Beltran had to come in and save Dusko. This guy's mean, tough, and this was a great UFC debut.
Great UFC debut. That knee up the middle that he delivered to Dusko that floored him was what won him the fight. Yeah. He had to do a little bit of ground and pound to finish him off, but that was that knee that devastated him.
Beginning of the end when he delivered that, just dropped him for the second time, and then bam. He had to throw a bit more of ground and pound, but pretty impressive. There was a few fighters from this camp on this card. Eric Nixick is the head coach. Sean Strickland is their top guy, and they had some great success. Nick Sick is a great coach going forward. The featured prelim I wasn't a fan of. This is another OG against a young fighter. Karolina Kowalkiewicz fought for the belt before against Joanna, and but she's getting a little long in the tooth now. She's been fighting for 12 years, 39 years old. They faced her against a young opponent who just was faster, a little bit better in every regard at this point moving forward. I didn't like that it was a feature prelim.
Yeah, it's, I don't know, like the matchup was the matchup. I just thought that this was an easy win for Gomez.
Easy, yeah.
And it kind of was. Like
Yeah.
it just was an easier win because physically she was better in every attribute with strengths, speed, all of that. And all of that was definitely shown in the stand-up variety. And
Yep.
every time that Karolina tried to blitz through, she doesn't have the power to change the course of the fight.
Yeah.
She just didn't. And then that was what was apparent right away. And Gomez won this fight. I thought she won this fight easily.
Yeah, no problem. That was an easy win. Yeah, it was chalk it up. She was a -600 favorite, and you know, I didn't like the matchup myself. I didn't really think that it was proper. So okay, the fight between Elizayu Zaleski dos Santos and Zachary Scoggin. Dos Santos was supposed to fight Nicholas Dalby.
Would have been
Dalby fell off, and on Tuesday, Zachary Scoggin got the call. This was making his UFC debut. This was another one of those mismatches. Unfortunately for Scoggin, you know, he goes in, fights a killer, a guy that's an old veteran. This was Dos Santos' 16th UFC appearance, and 37 years old, been in there with a ton of killers. And so this was, a mismatch. It proved to be so. Scoggin, he couldn't make weight because he such short notice, and he just looked out of his element. Dos Santos just came in there, blitzed him, got the win quite easily, very handily.
So he went in there with the killer and got killed.
Yeah,
that's what actually happened. Yeah. So there you go.
Dos Santos just landed a couple of calf kicks early. His hands came down a little bit. Once he landed that shot, dropped him, and then he just had to keep blitzing him with ground and pound, and boom, that was it. Fight over. Okay, another 50K bonus went to Charles Chuck Buffalo Radke. Also another blitzing of Matthew Semi, the Jedi Semmelsberger. This was an early stoppage, but but he was gonna get knocked out. He was gonna get annihilated. He was stiffened up, and he was he couldn't barely move his body. So you know, I don't blame Kerry Hatley for jumping in there and doing this, but a little early stoppage. But Chuck Buffalo, bam, quick, very, very easy, quick work, less than a minute, gets the win.
Yeah, once he landed that right hand, that was the beginning of the end for Semmelsberger. I understand where you're coming from. I understand how you like fights to end, which is he's not moving. Now you can call the fight. Now you can stop it.
That's me. You know me. You know me well. So yeah, I would have liked that. He got pretty emotional with Mike Bisping on the mic, and that meant a lot to him, this win. Paul Felder called it before the fight even began. He said, "Oh, this fight's ending quick. I'm put this on tape. Charles Radke's winning this very fast," and he did so. Another 50K bonus went to DeMonster Blackshear. A great performance, nice rear naked choke victory over Cody Stamen. I thought, wow, this is another guy that's with Kill Cliff MMA, Henry Hooft. Very great performance. He was better than Stamen, I thought, in every facet. Almost had the victory early, almost finished it in the first minute. Then it ended up taking him a little bit longer, but still got the win, and a really, really good rear naked choke. After he tried a guillotine choke, didn't work. He still got the one.
Broke him down with the striking, then broke him down with his grappling. Then he got his back, and then he broke him with the rear naked choke.
You mentioned knee won the fight earlier. He got that flying knee that started the beginning of the end.
Okay.
He almost finished him standing up against the cage. He hit him about 3-4 times. I think he might have knocked him out and woken him back up with the second shot. Yeah. So,
Yes.
but that was an awesome performance. Those early first two fights, nice to see finishes as well. Trayshawn Gore got a really good submission finish, 123 into the fight, and then Melissa Dixon got a nice TKO win, 120 into the second round. Good way to kick off the fights. A couple fights got canceled off this card. Cody Garbrandt and Miles Johns. I was disappointed that one fell off. That would have been great to see. But we've got UFC 309 this weekend. The main event has two GOATs. We got the GOAT of all time, and we got the GOAT of the heavyweight division, John Bones Jones against Stipe Miocic. This fight was supposed to take place in November of 2023. Jones ended up tearing his pec and had to have surgery. Finally, we're going to see this fight. Unfortunately, both fighters haven't fought much in the past 3-4 years. So we're not seeing them at the top of the top at the elite, but still should be a great matchup. I'm looking forward to seeing both of them go at it. Always got to lean towards Jones, but Stipe still has a really good shot, I think.
Stipe has a good shot. I just don't think this is going to be his night. I think John Jones still wins this. The thing that I'm looking forward to it being a very competitive fight. That's number one. Number two, my question is, do both of these guys retire on the same night once this fight is over? That's my big question.
Yeah, I think it's a very good possibility, but I did hear John Jones speak earlier this past week, and somebody said, what do you think after if you beat him, Tom Aspinall? And he said, nah, Aspinall doesn't interest me at all. That's not a legacy type of a fight, but Alex Pereira is a legacy fight, and I'd be willing to go up against that guy if they can make that happen. So that was surprising to hear that. And maybe.
First off, that's exactly what I've said before.
Yeah.
On this podcast, that would be the one fight that John Jones should absolutely push for.
Yeah.
That should be it. Like, I get that Aspinall, he's earned his spot. Don't care. You want money? You want to make money, UFC? You put John Jones and Alex Pereira together. Yeah. That will be the biggest, highest grossing pay-per-view in UFC history.
Yeah.
Mark it down on your calendar.
Yeah.
I said it here first. That would be it. And then you just make that card around them. Oh my goodness, that would make so much money.
That'd be fantastic and amazing. And yeah,
no brainer.
That happens. Aspinall is the backup for this fight, so either guy gets hurt this week, Aspinall is going to be stepping in there against either one of them. So we might see Jones against that. You know, these are two old men. They can easily get hurt, and we might see Aspinall Jones, even though we don't really care to see it anyway.
Nah, you know what? I think these old men know one thing for sure: how to throttle it back for fight week. And they're not going that hard.
I hope so. Yeah.
Taking it easy.
Co-main event should be a fantastic fight as well. We've got Charles Oliveira, number 2 in the division, fighting number 7, Michael Chandler. These two guys have held belts. Chandler in Bellator, DeBronx Oliveira here in the UFC. They did have a match before UFC 262 back in May of 2021. Oliveira ended up winning the vacant title that night. That's after Khabib retired, and they put the belt up, and Oliveira was able to get the victory. Oliveira has the most finishes and submissions in lightweight history, and has had a very amazingly decorated career. Chandler has been up and down. He's 2-3 in the UFC, but he never has a boring fight. Always fights balls to the wall. Should be really good to see. I'm looking forward to this battle. I'm glad he's finally getting a chance after waiting so long for Conor McGregor, and it never materialized.
That's what I feel bad. I feel bad for Chandler that he had to go through the McGregor nonsense and garbage, only to finally figure out, Oh, wait, this guy doesn't want to fight.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, what am I wasting my freaking time for? So I'm glad that he figured that out.
Yeah.
Glad that the UFC figured that out, and he gets to fight Charles Oliveira. Because as far as I'm concerned, Chandler deserves this fight. He's earned this fight, and especially for going through all that nonsense with McGregor. Because anybody thinking about fighting McGregor, know this: you're never going to fight him because he's never going to come back. Just know
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just
Now you know.
just deal with it. That's the way it is. You're right.
Yeah.
So both those fights should be fantastic. The rest of the card shaping up good. I mentioned Bo Nickel, Paul Craig. Going to be super fun fight. Mauricio Ruffy was supposed to fight my brother Charlie Campbell, but he had to be replaced by James Lontop. We'll see how that ends up going. The featured prelim could be the fight of the night with Jonathan Martinez against Marcus McGee. Both those guys are bangers and could put on a pretty impressive performance. We got former champ Chris Weidman on the card with Eric Anders. Should be fun. OG Jim Miller against the Leech Damon Jackson. Even the early prelims look pretty good. There have been a couple of fights fall off, but when you look down the card, there's still a ton of really, really good matchups, and I can't wait. Always good to see in MSG. This is the 11th time the UFC will be there, and the first time since UFC 300. The first time since UFC 295 back in November, where this fight between Jones and Stipe was supposed to happen.
Yeah, man. It's always good in MSG. I think the card's going to be awesome. I think the fights are going to be fantastic, terrific. I don't know if they're already sold out. They probably are already sold out. Right?
Yeah.
It's a sold out thing. So
right away.
The fans are going to be hyped. I'm going to be hyped. And I hope it's not Mr. Jones' last fight. I hope there's one or two more left in him. But I'm pretty sure of this. I think this is Stipe's last fight.
Yeah.
I don't think he's fighting anymore.
Yeah, this will be it for him. Yeah. It would be nice to see him go out on top. That would be incredible. Don't see it happening, but stranger things have happened in the world of combat sports. Well, this is a great episode. We started with combat sports with Mike Tyson, and we finished it with combat sports in the UFC. Great card we had this past weekend, but possibly even better card coming ahead. The co-main, and actually the co-main is 5 rounds. I forgot to mention. So we got 2 5-round fights off on the top of this card, and a lot of great battles here. So we get fights on Friday, we get fights on Saturday, and we get football Sunday. Wow, it's going to be an awesome weekend looking ahead.
It's going to be a great weekend looking ahead. It's going to be fantastic.
Grey Cup too. Grey Cup Sunday, yeah.
And the Grey Cup
Sunday, yeah. Whitecaps did lose their third game of their playoff series against LAFC. Unfortunately, lost 1-0 down in LA on Friday, and their season is done. Great playoff performances by them after a really big swan dive at the end of the season, but their season does end there. But a good performance against the top team in the West, LAFC, pushing them to 3 games. Getting a nice win, and almost pulling out a very big surprising victory. 8-1. It would have been a big, massive upset, but have to pack their bags and get ready for next year.
Yeah, pack their bags, get ready for next year. Hopefully have a better year next year than they did this year, because this year was somewhat disappointing. Yeah. So hopefully they can figure out a couple things, especially when it comes to excitement on offense for the team, and just playing a better up and down style.
Yeah, let's hope so. Yeah. Okay, man. Well, hope you have a really great week ahead. Appreciate you coming on and spending some of your holiday Monday with us. And it was great. I'm sure we'll be in close contact over the next few days.
Yeah, you betcha, man. You take it easy. Have a great evening.
Okay. Thanks, Jace. Take care. Okay. Wow. We squeezed it in a little bit. Less time, as the last few episodes have been pushing 3 hours, even more. I think this one was just over 2. So thanks so much for your time and attention. And you guys have been great, really coming in on droves for subscribers and comments and everything. So love you guys lots. Love our partners and sponsors. Want to thank Anchor, Verbero, Pampas and Possibilities, and Forever Living. Always appreciate all your support, and have a fantastic week ahead. Enjoy the sports this weekend. It's going to be great. I can't wait to hear all your comments after seeing a ton of the stuff that's coming up. So, as I said, love you guys lots. Take care, and bye for now.